Okay, so for my campaign case study, I am presenting on the Old Spice smell or the Man Your Man Could Smell Like campaign from 2010. So just a brief history of Old Spice. It was originally founded by the Scholten Company in 1934. Interestingly, it was originally a women's fragrance company. They didn't start introducing men's products until 1938. And that's when they started to introduce men's fragrances and stuck in that niche for many, many years. They grew steadily. It was a popular product. The growth was significant and steady for about 40 years. Men and women alike loved the product and they were using it and using it and using it. Sales kind of plateaued in the 80s. The company's growth kind of plateaued there, and they sold out to Procter and Gamble in 1990. This was a good acquisition for Procter and Gamble. It was an older brand, was a lesser known brand at that point, and that was the problem. Pre 2010, Old Spice was your dad's fragrance. It was your dad's aftershave. Their customer base was dying off. It was young people weren't using the product at all because it was, old-timey branding, an old-time scent. A lot of young people smelled that classic Old Spice smell and thought, oh, that's only something my dad would like. uh they were losing ground to companies like Dove, Men, like Axe was really taking off at this time, and young people were gravitating towards those brands, especially Axe, because they had the commercials with the beautiful women that were super attracted to the men when they put on Axe body spray and all that. That was attractive to this new generation. So Old Spice realized that if they wanted to appeal to young people, they needed a full rebrand. They could not just stick with what they had been doing for 70 years. They had to redo it. So entered the Man Your Man Could Smell Like campaign. This was a campaign made by the firm Wyden and Kennedy in 2010, in February of 2010. It started with this classic video. It is kind of a lower quality image, but I think we all recognize this first frame of the commercial. This is the Man Your Man Could Smell Like. This actor is a former pro football player, very attractive guy, smooth talking, and very appealing to women. And we'll get to that in a minute. Um, so they originally launched this video on YouTube, and then later they introduced it on broadcast television. That was a new idea at that time, was starting the campaign on the internet rather than on traditional TV. We see that all the time today though, but it was new at this time. So this was one of the genius things that came of Wyden and Kennedy's research, was they realized who their audience actually was, who their target customer actually was. They learned that more than 50% of Old Spice's sales were women in relationships, women who were buying Old Spice for their significant other. They were buying it for their husbands, for their boyfriends to use. The men weren't the ones in the store actually buying the Old Spice. The people using the product were not the ones actually purchasing the product. So Wyden and Kennedy knew that they needed to appeal to women. They needed to appeal to women in relationships that were buying this product for their husbands, boyfriends, what have you, to use. So that is why they brought out the man your man could smell like. Just the tagline alone, the name of the campaign is directed at women. It isn't directed at men. That was a genius part of this campaign. Message delivery, the rhetoric that was used, you have pathos, in both an appeal to humor and an appeal to sex. Appeal to humor, it's hard to dissect humor. It really is. But this is a funny commercial. A lot of quick cuts, kind of sloppy scene changes on purpose to make it funny. Just a lot of random elements. I mean, diamonds randomly pouring out of the man's hand. He ends up on a horse out of nowhere. It's a funny commercial, and it appeals to that humor, especially the humor of the younger generation. Just a little personal anecdote. I remember when this commercial came out, my dad watched it and hated it. He thought it was so stupid. He did not understand it. He would have been 50 at the time. Me, I was 12 years old. I thought it was hilarious. The younger generation understood that humor and liked that humor, and that was a very, very good idea. And then the appeal to sex, of course, for the target audience of women. The man your man could smell like. It was that that idea that if your man used Old Spice, he could smell like this former pro football player turned actor who has a six-pack, a beautiful smile, and all of that. It's that appeal to sex, that appeal to the inner desire to be attracted to your significant other, which worked very, very well. By the numbers, this was a complete success. The video on YouTube alone, 5.9 million views within 24 hours of being posted on YouTube. That is an insane number, especially for 2010. Today, even today, 13 years later, it's an incredible number. But in 2010, that's especially a big achievement. It increased sales by 125%. And you can see here, not only that, this is a graph of Google searches of Old Spice over time. You can see up till April 2009, this spike right here is February of 2010, right when this campaign came out. And then it steadied up, it came down. We have a random spike in 2014, but it stayed higher than it used to be. That spike right there was this campaign. So not only did it increase the sales by 125%, it quadrupled traffic to oldspice.com for customers to come and learn about the company. It also increased Twitter following by 27 times. And this was another interesting thing. People could tweet to the man your man could smell like, and he would respond. They made 180 response videos of this man responding to consumers' questions on Twitter. That interactive part, that was, again, not something that you saw pre-2010. And Facebook following increased by 9 times. Not 9%, 9 times, 900%. This was a massive success of a campaign. It is generally thought of as one of the most successful and incredible campaigns of the 21st century. You can see Fox Business has it as its fourth best campaign of the 21st century. It is an iconic campaign. It worked. It got their numbers up, and today Old Spice is thought of as a younger company. People my age, I'm 25, we use Old Spice. That was not something that was happening 15 years ago, and this was the campaign that started that change. Very successful campaign, and that is my case study.